It's showtime. Well, that's what it
What
feels
is
like.
up, guys? Welcome to the
What's up?
Supercast Live. Hey, how you doing, Steve? What's up, man?
Doing great. We just literally did this at the last minute, as in
We did.
I called him up 15 minutes ago. I said, "Hey, you want to go live?" And he's like, "Okay, yeah, let's do it."
Let's do it. Yeah. And we are live, so tell your friends, tell your family, tell everybody. The Supercast is live. We don't do this a lot like some other people do. Um, this is not a normal thing for us, but we will do this, every so often. So feel free to join
Well,
us each time.
the plan is to start doing it more, just because.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely
if
more.
if you haven't
Sure.
if you haven't paid attention, um, we are our episode output's not what we want it to be.
Right.
We do have one in the can right now. That's Heat,
Mm-hmm.
and that's gonna be coming
Yep.
out hopefully pretty soon, maybe November. But I've just been super busy. We've also
Mm-hmm.
had an issue like recording sometimes. So if we can go
Yep.
live and save on editing, that's great.
Right.
Plus, if we can actually get some interaction, get some people coming in talking about the film that we're talking about, that's even
Yep.
better because that's really what we're about.
Yeah, and just so to get it out of the way, guys, just to know, if you haven't done it already, please subscribe to our YouTube channel because that's where you'll find our lives pretty much on our channel, as well as our other videos. We just released one a few days ago, the Hitchcock movie Rope. So if you guys haven't watched that and you're stumbled on to our channel, uh, give us a like on that. If you're a big fan of Hitchcock, we had a ball watching that film and then talking about it. And so we'd love to hear you guys' thoughts on it as well.
Definitely. That one actually did a lot better than I thought, just because
Yeah,
oftentimes when we do our classic films, they don't do as well. But that's kind of what we're about, and that's why today we're doing
right.
Arsenic and Old Lace.
Yep.
Just because we just love classical cinema. We both watched it the past week.
Mm-hmm.
So perfect film to be doing.
Yeah,
Even though the Halloween season's over, I guess today is the Day of the Dead, so I guess we're not totally off base.
true that.
But
Yeah.
we are getting to talk about that film. And I guess as we're closing the door on this Halloween season, did you watch any good Halloween films this past
Oh
season?
man, of course I watched Halloween, the original, the other day, which is a classic. I've watched Young Frankenstein, which I know that's a comedy and technically not a horror film, but it's still a Halloween film. I mean, come on. And then, of course, watched Arsenic last night. Watched a few. Probably not as many. I actually meant to watch. I guess I still could. The original Dracula from 1931, because I haven't
Yeah.
watched that yet. Big fan of that one as well. What about you, man?
Um, yeah, I like your picks. I like
Thanks.
Young Frankenstein especially. I
Oh,
didn't watch that one in this time. I was mainly seeking out the scary stuff.
I hear you.
I
I
love
hear you.
horror films,
Yeah.
and I've just been in the mood for like studying them a lot, and
Right.
watched lots of Carpenter. That's mainly my
Mm-hmm.
thing because I mean that guy.
Yeah.
I came to the realization this past summer while watching
Mm.
Christine, which is probably one of his lesser films, but I still loved it. But I was like, you know what? This guy's my number two now. He's my number two
Yeah.
favorite director. So I was just in the mood for his films. So the one that made a big jump for me with him, because
Mm.
obviously The Thing, Halloween,
Sure.
those are all great.
Right.
But the big one that made the huge jump for me this time was Prince of Darkness.
Mm.
Uh, it's it's one that like the first time I watched it,
Yeah.
I didn't totally like it.
Uh-huh.
Even though like I was vibing with it the whole time, but the whole time I was like, you know what, this is not as scary as I thought. Because when I was first told about this film back in the day, I was like
Yeah.
told that this is one of the scariest films ever made,
Right.
and it had its moments, but the ending just didn't. Leading up to the ending didn't hit it for me. But it was
Mm-hmm.
really the last 20 to 30 seconds of the film that just kind of blew me away.
Hmm.
And I just kept thinking about the ending for weeks. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to watch this again. So
Yeah.
I watched it again, and I really liked it that time. But this time I watched it, I guess it
Mm.
was about 2 weeks ago. Oh my gosh, it is a masterpiece. That's
Mm.
where it's risen for me. Just like on the fourth or fifth watch, um, it's it's just a crazy film. I highly recommend Prince of Darkness.
Yeah. Let's get into a film we teased a second ago, just because I really want to talk about it, and that is, of course, Arsenic and Old Lace. This film is very personal for me. personally, personally, sorry. This film is definitely very personal for me though, because I was actually in the stage version of this. This was actually a play, and written by Joseph Kessering, and I was in this play, dude, and it's so crazy to even say it out loud. I was in this 20 years ago. So shout out to my cast and crew that helped us on that. That was my first college play when I was in junior college. Arsenic and Old Lace. I of course played the great Dr. Einstein character. Of course, Peter Lorre, who is just brilliant in the film. Not enough Peter Lorre. That's my one critique of this film. Not enough Peter Lorre. I just think he's great in this. Um,
Hmm.
so
Totally
yeah,
agree.
I would say, I know it's easy for me to say because I'm so close to the play that I would love this film anyway, but I think I would love this film regardless, and I have you to thank for that because you were not in the play and you love this film. So I want to hear your
Hmm.
view on this film just to start it out, man.
Yeah, so like, just I was just detailing my account for you introduced this film to me. You had it on
Mm-hmm.
DVD, I think, because you were in the play. Obviously, you had to watch
Mm-hmm.
it,
Yep.
and I watched it, and instantly I knew this was a movie I loved because I just
Yeah.
love the whole premise. I love how it's done, and I even remember when like Facebook first got created. It was one of the like 40 to
Mm-hmm.
films that I put on there as like one of my favorite
Mm-hmm.
films.
Yep.
But I say that I did not watch it again for about 20 years after that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and I loved it. I got it when it was released on the Criterion
Yep.
collection last year around October, and that was like a film that I bought pre-order because I never had it
Mm-hmm.
on physical media, and I wanted
Right.
it. And I just this movie just blows me away every time I watch it. Like
Mm.
it's the script is where it begins. It's
Right.
just that writing
Yep.
of how everything just builds and builds and builds throughout the
Mm.
film, and it just gets funnier as it does. It's
It
I mean, let's just start at the beginning.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
starts off. I don't get the whole Yankees versus the Brooklyn Dodgers thing.
Yeah, the baseball
I
opening cracks me up every time just because I think it's just complete nonsense. Like it's just, like, hey, it's baseball, it's World Series, which kind of fits, because the Yankees and the Dodgers were just in the World Series. So that's kind of interesting. But I think
yeah
other than that, I think it means nothing. I think it's just nonsense, but in a good way. That's how I view it anyway.
yeah I kind of agree with you. And in fact, while you were talking about it,
Yeah.
it just clicked for me in my head why they included it. It's a
Uh-huh.
big tone setter. It's showing
Yeah.
you this movie is very goofy, but also it's New York where anything can happen.
Yeah,
So
that's
like these
true.
people are just like going at each other, and I guess it establishes a little undertone of violence, which kind of runs through the whole film.
Right?
Um, but it goes from that to just kind of like Mortimer in line going to get married. We learn about him. We learn about how he's this like bachelor that writes all these books about why you should never get married, and he's like a critic and everything. Come back to obviously Cary Grant in a second, but then
Mm.
from there it kind of we get to his house and we find out what's been going down, and I
Yeah.
just love it how it just keeps building from there and just his reaction. But we'll get into that later. I think we've kind of just our excitement has got us to kind of blitz past a few things.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
yeah. Totally, man.
yeah, we got to start, I guess, because you said it was a play,
Uh-huh.
but it gets brought to the film by none other than Frank Capra,
Yeah.
who's a great director. I guess he's
Yep.
best known for
It's a
obviously,
Wonderful Life.
Yeah, It's a Wonderful Life, and I always think about his war films, the ones that
Mm.
he made, sort of working for the government. But this is like right after the war, and I
Mm-hmm.
like that because it's
Yeah.
just it's just comedy. It's just
Mm.
silliness. It's crazy. Yes, it has these dark undertones, which
Yeah.
I just love.
Yeah.
And I think that's like the beautiful thing he does here is he brings this stage play and makes it not totally cinematic. Like he does a little bit tricks with the camera, but I think
Mm-hmm.
it's
Mm-hmm.
really with just how he keeps the energy up the whole way through.
Yeah.
And I guess he gave some pretty good direction to the cast because the cast is insane.
Right.
What do you think about Capra? What he's doing with this one?
I'll tell you what, that's the thing. Like this movie, you could actually probably make this into a really dark, almost horror-like film on its own. But because there's so much humor and there's so much, dare I say, lightheartedness, um, you know, you're okay with all of this. You're not freaked out. You get it. But what I love about the film, and me and my wife were talking about this last night, and coincidentally, she actually played the same character as I did, Dr. Einstein, in another version about 10 years ago. So that's kind of crazy. But
That is crazy.
anyways, I want to throw that in there. Uh, um, but like, this is just such a messed up concept with these ladies because they think they're actually doing some sort of service. And I remember asking her last night, I was like, where did this idea even come from? Like, how did they go, hey, you know what we should do? We should give older people wine so they'll, kind of fall asleep and die peacefully. And they'll get them out of their misery or whatever it is. I mean, it's such a messed up concept from just thinking about it. But what works so incredibly well is these women treat it the complete opposite of what you might think somebody would like. Well, like Mortimer treats it. It's okay. It's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. They see no harm in it, and the fact that they never realize, the other side of that is just the absolute brilliance for me with this.
Yeah, and that's the what makes this movie great is
Yeah.
we have this dark concept. These old
Mm,
ladies
yeah.
murder old men and bury them
Straight
in their
up.
basement in
Yeah.
the root cellar. We got that. But the way it's told is the funniest thing ever because comedy in essence is something bad happening, something wrong happening, like just a
Yeah.
guy falling down. That's not supposed to happen. But in this
Yeah.
case,
Yeah.
it gets taken to the nth degree. But
Yeah.
what creates the comedy is how, like you're saying, to them, they think they're doing good. To them,
Yeah.
they're just like, it's no big deal. You don't concern yourself with Mortimer. We'll take care of this.
Yeah.
It's fine. This is our business. Can't we have our secrets?
Right.
It's just
Right.
how it's just to them. It's just kind of like sneaking a drink on the side or something.
Yeah.
Or
No big deal.
I went gambling the other day or something like that. To them, it's just something that's like a
Yeah.
little devious. Because it's so great because they're the sweetest ladies. That's how they get introduced. Is
Yeah.
the two policemen are like, those are the two finest ladies in our community. They do so much for the kids, and then
Well,
like they just seem like that, and then you find out, like you're
yeah.
saying, no, they are murderers. It's so funny, I mean, because they pull in Teddy into it too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, Ted.
added more
Oh.
absurdity. This is a family of nutcases. Probably shouldn't say it like that, but I mean, they definitely
Yeah.
just have a little bit of issues in their family. I mean, these two old ladies killing people, no big deal. But then we have Teddy.
Mm.
He's the president.
He is
And
Theodore Roosevelt, and he thinks he's the actual person. He thinks he is. I mean, he kind of looks like him, he kind of talks like him, and he treats everybody like they're his cabinet members or Taft, which I love that line towards the end, when Taft comes in. But if you know, you know. But he's one of the best parts. But that's the thing, guys. Let's just be honest here. Every character in this movie works for me. Every character is just fantastic. Cary Grant, and I do want to get back to Cary Grant for a second because I do have something to say about him. But like,
Obviously.
if it was just Cary Grant, I mean, you'd be like, yeah, it's a great film because Cary Grant's in it. But no, these other guys, the ladies, and then of course Mr. Theodore Roosevelt, he is just a fantastic character, and I mean, he's in on the situation with the ants. He just doesn't understand it the way that they do. So he thinks they're yellow fever victims. I mean, it's just so messed up.
Well, it's great because
In a good way.
once again, everybody in the community is just like, that's just Teddy. He's harmless.
Yeah.
And then it's like in the real world, no, we would say this guy needs help. He thinks he is the president.
Yeah.
And every time he's got this OCD thing. Every time he goes up the stairs, he's charging San Juan Hill. He's charging up the hill. It's great, and it messes up the clock every time. They just fix the numbers back and move on with their day. It's just like, yeah, this happens, guys. It's great, and that's what, like I was saying, this
Yeah.
concept of these two old ladies having the locks being dug underneath, and then they go downstairs and they sing hymns over the things and just give them a good burial
Yeah.
because they're doing charity. They're helping these
They're
old,
honoring these people.
poor, lonely men out that they just need to be released from life because their life
Yeah.
is so lonely.
Yeah. Um, something I
Yeah.
thought about that I hadn't thought about is, I mentioned earlier, where did the ants get the idea for the wine stuff? What happened to Teddy? Or I guess that's his real name. I don't know. They never really said. They just call him Teddy. But what happened to Teddy to get him to be like that? Because something tragic might have happened. I don't know. I mean, I never thought about it till last night. It's like he didn't just like wake up like that one day. I mean, did some tragic event happen? And so he's shielding himself from that. I mean, you could go get really deep for such a comedy film like this. That's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely begs the thing. I know that Jonathan and Mortimer are related.
Yeah.
But I know, is Teddy their biological brother too? I'm not sure because I
Well,
know that the aunts adopted Jonathan and Mortimer when they were kids, but
right.
I don't know. Maybe there was something tragic because, I mean,
Yeah.
Jonathan, we'll get to him later. That dude he's
Oh.
kind of messed up as well. But I guess we've talked about these two eccentric things and just the general idea of the plot, but
Yeah.
we are going to have to do a proper podcast and come back to
We
Cary
do.
Grant because
Most definitely.
he is the big star. He is the man of the hour.
Yeah.
And I guess we'll start at the hot take that you and I both have is Cary Grant does not like this performance, but you and I
Right.
both do.
Oh,
What do you
I
like about
love. Okay, so when the movie starts, he's just usual Cary Grant. He's suave. He makes a couple jokes with his fiance. He does that little cheesy smile to that guy. I mean, he's just being normal Cary Grant. As soon as he opens that window seat, as soon as that lifts up and he looks in there, he becomes a completely different character. Like, he is no longer Mr. Smooth. I mean, he kind of has glimpses when he shakes people's hands and stuff, but honestly, the look in his eye, and I just think it's brilliant. And I'm like, how could you not appreciate this? I mean, granted, yeah, I probably hate to watch myself on movies and stuff too, and probably be real critical. But I think just from a outsider standpoint, how could you not admire what Cary Grant does in this film? Because this is not a typical Cary Grant performance. I mean, he is not Mr.
Definitely.
Smooth after that. I mean, he like I said, there's a couple of scenes where he can kind of put it back on, but I mean, his hair's disheveled, his ties undone. I mean, he is just a shell of a human being by the end of this because of what he's and who wouldn't? I mean, in real life, who would not be messed up by this, And so I so appreciate what he did, whether he liked it or not. And again, I'm sorry that he didn't. I just appreciate this performance more and more, and I think I appreciate it on an even deeper level after watching it last night, man. I just gotta say that.
Same. I mean, like we were saying, he didn't like it. Capra told him to play it loud,
Yep.
and he did. He plays it loud, but
Yeah.
to me, it works because everybody else is just treating the situation like, oh, this is no big deal. This is fine.
That knows
Meanwhile,
about it
this
anyway.
guy, okay, this is his day. He wakes up. He's a bachelor. He's known to be this play critic that hates love in the plays and stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, like you're saying, that's typical Cary Grant. He's like, I told you, baby, we're not gonna do this.
Yeah.
And then he gets married, which I guess shows this is the beginning of this guy starting to,
Settle
I don't
down.
know, be a little crazy. But then he's still feeling awesome, top of the moon. He's about to go on his honeymoon. He's going to go over Niagara Falls.
In a barrel.
And then his life does a complete 180, like
Yeah.
just there. Like, and this is what really stood out to me this time is how his new wife Elaine is just whistling to him over and over. It's just like, come on, let's go.
Complete ignoring her.
And
Yeah.
he was so ready to go before, but as soon as he discovers that body, like you said, it's 180, and he's just trying to put those pieces together. And also, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? As any person would be reacting, and that's the thing is,
Yeah.
Cary Grant is the audience. He
Right.
is us in this
Exactly.
Because
Yes.
if we were in that situation, that's how we would be acting. Because
No
they're just
doubt.
the ants are baking a cake. They're like, oh, that's great, you're getting married. Let's bake a cake, and slowly but surely we're getting their motive and what they've done this whole time. And then he's trying to figure out what to do with Teddy, and it just makes it worse when Jonathan shows up. But
Yeah.
this guy, I love his performance because just like the film, as things get more and more absurd and things just get crazy and crazier, so does
Yeah.
his performance.
Yep.
Sorry.
Yeah. It just gets better and better, and he is. I mean, I can't even like put into words how much I love this performance. And again, it's a different Cary Grant than I think a lot of people are used to, and he's a little cartoony, sure, but like you said, I think it just really works for this film. I think this film is as close to a live action cartoon as you can possibly get, if you really think about it. I mean, because look at all these absurd characters, from the ants to Mortimer, or not Mortimer, but Jonathan, and we haven't talked about my character yet, Dr. Einstein and Jonathan, because they're an interesting pair as well. But just all these people, and then the cop. Excuse me, I'm getting choked up. Then the cops come in, and the cops are cartoons. I mean, it's insaneness, but in such funny way.
Yeah, that's a good point. I kind of thought about that when I was watching it. And that's probably why I like it, because I love movies that are just that unrealistic.
Yeah.
And in this case, why would this taxi driver just sit outside and wait for hours?
I love the taxi driver.
These people are weird. He says something every time somebody comes out.
Yeah.
And then same thing like you're saying, the cops. Yeah, it's kind of funny. Even our doctor, played by the guy from Fractured Fairy Tales, when he shows up,
I love his
this
voice.
guy, oh yeah, he's great.
There's lots of stairs. There's lots of stairs in. It's just fantastic.
It is. But yeah, we're talking about what we love about this film, and we're leaving out the antagonist. We finally get into him. We mentioned him a few times. This Raymond Massey guy, like, I mainly know him from this film, but he's also in A Matter of Life and Death. I remember he's the prosecutor that puts David Niven on charge. So this guy, he's just a powerful actor, and it would have been cool if it was Boris Karloff,
right?
But I really like this guy because he's dark. He's a volatile element of the film, because he represents real danger amidst all this comedy, and I think I kind of like that, just how dark it is. Like, this guy used to torture his brother as a kid, like torture him, and then now here he is planning out all these things that he's going to do, and he's wanted by the law and everything. I mean, this guy's just a bad dude, and he just adds another element to this film, because it would be good if it was just Mortimer trying to hide the bodies and trying to figure out what to do about the ants and Teddy. But when you throw Jonathan in the mix, now we got some danger. Now we got something else.
You've got a real threat now in everything. This is where the situation could go from, okay, I think I can control this and keep this under wraps, to holy crap, the crap's about to get real, guys. I mean, it really is. And I love Remy Massey's performance. I think he actually played Abe Lincoln in a film at one time too. I think I saw him in that. Boris Karloff was doing what was it he was doing that he couldn't do? I forget. But I really like Raymond's performance. And like I said, at the top, of course, I played Dr. Einstein, and it's played by the great Peter Lorre. Now, Peter Lorre is, in my opinion, and I want to hear your thoughts on this, and I kind of always thought this, but as I was watching last night, I was like, it's not like he's a henchman, in my opinion. It's not like he's a partner. He's more like a hostage to Jonathan, in my opinion. It's like, I'll keep you alive if you'll do this for me, or if you'll do that. That's a hostage, my friend. I don't think that and I think he's willing. I mean, he tries to get Mortimer to run away, to go away. He's real sweet to the ladies. I mean, this is not two bad guys. I think this is one bad guy and a hostage. What do you think? What do you think the partnership is with them?
I don't know. I think you're onto something there, and I think I've kind of thought that as well before.
Hmm.
But he's definitely a softer edge.
Yep.
I mean, I know why they include him because basically he takes the sort of the fear out of the room because he's a
Yep.
funny guy. He's
Yeah.
he's talking
He's
like this the whole
charming.
time, Johnny.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
and
charming. He's
he's nice,
cute.
like you're saying. I mean, yeah, he's creepy Peter Lorre guy, but he's still awesome. And
Yeah.
yeah, he is sort of a hostage, I guess, because he doesn't want to do the bad stuff. He's just like, okay,
Or
let's
he
just do a
begs him. He's like,
few
let's do
sort
the
of
quick way.
minor,
Yeah.
yeah, let's do some minor crimes and stuff. But he's not like totally demonic like
I
old
don't think so.
Jonathan is.
Yep.
No, but I love Peter Lorre. He's great in everything.
Hmm.
M, man, that he is evil in that one, and it's hard
Yes.
to believe that he goes from that
I know,
scary
right?
pedophile guy to this little funny, lovable henchman. And I do call him a henchman because
I guess
he
so.
is
I
that.
mean, technically, I
Those two
guess.
guys just together in a scene together is just great. And
Yeah.
I love
I
it
love
how
their
he's like,
silhouettes.
oh, oh yeah, it's great. I mean, that's great visual as it is. And I was
Yeah.
just thinking about whenever he's talking to Teddy and he realizes, oh, this guy's crazy. He's just like manipulating him a little bit because they need Teddy to build him another lock so they can bury their body. Uh,
Yeah.
it's it's just so hilarious. And when they find out that there's other bodies down in the basement, it's
Yeah.
like, what? These grandmas they're worse than you, Johnny. It's
Yep.
yeah, I love it. And
You've got 12. They
his
got 12. I love that line.
and it's kind of what you were getting at the beginning. Is an ensemble. It's all these
Yeah.
characters being put together is what makes
Yep.
it great because they all are in scenes together. But when at the end when they're all on the screen together and all these elements are combined,
Oh,
the
it's just,
silly nice ants that are also killers, the serial killer, Peter Lorre, crazy Mortimer losing it,
yeah.
and then
Yeah.
even Elaine's thrown there at the end, and then we get the cops coming in at the end. It's just so funny bringing everybody into one scene and just watching the chaos happen.
I think there's only one normal character in this entire movie, guys. One normal character, and he comes out. He's towards the beginning, and it is Elaine's father, Reverend Harper. If you notice, he's there at the beginning in the house. He doesn't drink the wine. You know, he's probably the sanest person in that movie for the rest of the running time, I think.
Yeah, I guess he's before it gets crazy because
Right, he's the
like you're saying
sanest
at the
character.
beginning, as soon as Mortimer discovers the body, the film just becomes totally different.
Yep.
And I don't know. I guess I don't know. It is just a silly film. It's a lot of fun. It's dark. It's humorous. I mean, everybody should watch it every Halloween.
I agree, man. I totally agree, dude.
Yeah, it's great, and we're finishing up our Halloween stuff.
Yep.
I'm moving on to new stuff. I started last night actually.
Yes, he
I
did.
watched a film that
One of my
I
favorites.
bought the
too.
4K about 2 weeks ago or so, maybe 3 weeks ago,
Mhm.
and it's a film that I've been wanting to see on 4K for about 4 years.
Mm.
Finally, I have it. I watched it last night. Chinatown.
Mm.
That's going to be coming to the channel this
Yeah.
November because
Yeah.
we're thinking about doing some noir stuff after, just to kind of get us going again because we both love noir.
Definitely.
And it'd be just awesome to cover those films and probably a few that we've covered in the past, but putting our new spin on them. Probably talking about them live, so hopefully people can come in and say something about the films
Totally.
themselves.
Definitely. I am definitely a big noir fan. Chinatown was actually my first really intro into noir when I took a class years ago. I'm sure I'll talk about that more during the video for that. But I'm really excited to hear your thoughts on the 4K Chinatown because it's what you were telling me off air. It was unbelievable. So I'm really excited to dive into that.
I did not have words at when I finished it. I just sat
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
like this. It was like I watched the film for the first time again, and that just every scene was that more powerful. And I know that sounds kind of
No,
superficial to say that just because something looks better,
Hey,
but
no.
to me it's like, no, this is how the film is intended to look.
Right.
And it's like I've never seen it in that version. it was just flooring, man. Like, and even the sound sounds better now. It's
Mm.
uh, just a great film. Like, I can't wait to talk about that one. What other things were you thinking? I was thinking Double Indemnity. Any others kind of jump to your mind?
I mean, we could definitely do Psycho again. I mean, we got to do some more Hitchcocks, guys.
I-
If you have
Is
not
that a,
watched, yeah, what
I was gonna say, do you think that's a noir? Do you think Psycho
Psycho?
is?
Yeah, totally, man.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe not your textbooks noir, but it's definitely dark.
yeah.
I mean, it's,
It's got noir elements. I'd put more probably Strangers on a Train more than noir
yeah,
element.
true. True, but
But
I feel like that Hitchcock's always got a little bit of noir in his stuff. I really feel like even if he doesn't go completely full on, there's always going to be a little taste, and I think Psycho does that in a sense because of well, I mean, Bates, the
I guess
character Bates.
with its shots, it definitely brings in that German expressionism look that
Yep.
isn't all the noirs. So I guess you're right now. I'm thinking about it a little bit, but I guess we'll come up with our stuff off air. We will do a countdown too. You were talking about that
Hmm.
last night. Top five. I was just thinking about mine, and I've definitely got my three.
Mm.
4 and 5, I have to think about a little bit more.
Stay tuned for that. That's called a tease, guys. Thank you guys so
Yeah.
much for joining us today. This has been a lot of fun. Like we said at the top, we want to do this more often. We're gonna definitely put more content out there as far as videos. And as we said at the top, Rope just came out not too long ago. So if you guys haven't watched that and given us a like on that, we would really appreciate that because it really does help us out. And we're just getting started, guys. We are really just getting started, and could
Getting
not be
started
more.
again, I guess.
Yep, getting restarted. There we go. Dude, any last words? Anything to kind of close us out on the night?
Nah, it was just fun
Yes.
revisiting Arsenic Old Lace. I watched a lot of great movies during Halloween. I'm ready to move on. One of these days I'm going to get back to watching serious movies again.
yeah,
Kind of did last night, but
yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know me. Tonight I'm probably going to watch
Yeah.
some Jackie Chan or something.
Hey man, you gotta have fun, and that's the thing about film. It's just gotta be fun, no matter what it is. Guys, just thanks again for joining us today, and looking forward to putting out more content for you guys. So stay tuned for that. For Steve Z, I am the Superfosh. We'll see you guys next time on the Supercast. Take care, guys.
Yep. And now the awkward part where I'm clicking the button to end stream. And now we